German Shepherd with 3 puppies, begged baby to open the door. What baby did next left everyone in tears. The story you're about to listen will touch your heart in ways you never imagined. What happened that stormy night changed a family forever. Like, share, and don't forget to comment where you're watching from. Thunder crashed against the night sky as rain pounded mercilessly on the rooftops of Willow Creek. The small town rarely saw storms of this magnitude. Trees bent under the powerful gusts, and street lamps flickered in protest against the howling wind that seemed determined to plunge everything into darkness. Inside a cozy 2-story house at the edge of Maple Street, 5-year-old Daniel, Danny to everyone who knew him, sat cross-legged on the living room floor near the front door. The storm outside didn't frighten him. Instead, it fascinated him. Each lightning flash illuminated his small face with wonder, his brown eyes wide and attentive. He giggled at the thunder that followed, counting the seconds between light and sound just like his father had taught him. 1, 2, 3, he whispered, his small fingers tracing patterns on the wooden floor. That means it's 3 miles away. Danny's mother, Maya, peeked out from the kitchen doorway, her long, dark hair tied in a messy bun. Worry lines creased her forehead as she watched her son sitting so close to the door. Danny, sweetie, come away from there, she called, wiping her hands on her apron. Dinner's almost ready, and I don't want you sitting by the door during this storm. Danny looked up, his face illuminated by another flash of lightning. But Mom, I like watching the rain. Dad said it's safe as long as I'm inside. In the kitchen, Noah chopped vegetables for the salad, smiling at his son's fascination with the natural world. His hands moved with practiced precision, the knife hitting the cutting board in a steady rhythm that competed with the raindrops battering the kitchen window. Let him be, Maya, Noah said gently. He's fine, as long as he stays inside. Besides, storms like this don't come around often. He placed the knife down and reached for his wife's hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. You worry too much. Maya sighed, her shoulders relaxing slightly under her husband's touch. I know, I just can't help it sometimes. She glanced back at Danny, who had returned to counting between lightning and thunder. He's just so small, Noah. Small but brave, Noah replied with a wink, just like his mom. The family had moved to Willow Creek just over a year ago. Noah's job as a high school science teacher had brought them to this quiet town, and Maya had quickly found work as a nurse at the local clinic. They'd settled into life here easily, though Maya's protective nature had intensified since the move. Perhaps it was the unfamiliarity of the new place, or maybe it was Danny starting kindergarten. Either way, Noah had noticed her hovering more, worrying more. Danny continued his storm watching, completely oblivious to his parents' conversation. The rain created mesmerizing patterns on the glass panes of the front door. He pressed his small palm against the cool surface, feeling the vibrations from the storm outside. The wind whistled through the cracks around the doorframe, creating an eerie melody that mixed with the steady drumming of the rain. Dinner in 5 minutes, Maya called out, returning to the stove where a pot of homemade chicken soup simmered. The warm, comforting aroma filled the house, fighting against the chill that seeped in from outside. Noah finished setting the table, placing Danny's favorite dinosaur printed plate in his usual spot. Hey, buddy, time to wash up soon, he called to his son. Danny nodded absently, his attention still fixed on the storm. He was about to get up when something caught his ear, a sound different from the wind and rain. He froze, listening intently. There it was again, a soft scratching against the door, almost imperceptible beneath the storm's fury. Danny leaned closer, his ear nearly touching the door. Scratch, scratch. Then a whimper. Danny's eyes widened. That wasn't the wind. Something, or someone, was outside. Danny, hands please, Maya called, not noticing her son's changed demeanor. The scratching grew more insistent, accompanied now by a low whine that rose and fell like a plea. Danny pressed his face against the glass section of the door, trying to see through the rain-streaked surface. The porch light cast weak yellow illumination through the downpour, but he couldn't make out anything distinct. Another flash of lightning split the sky, and for a brief second, everything outside was visible in stark detail. Danny gasped. In that frozen moment of brightness, he saw them. Shadows huddled against the door, one large shadow and several smaller ones behind it. Mom! Dad! Danny called, his voice trembling with excitement and concern. "There's someone outside." Noah looked up from the table, frowning. "What's that, buddy?" "There's someone at the door," Danny repeated, his small hands pressed flat against the glass. Maya turned off the stove burner and hurried to the living room. "Danny, get away from the door," she said firmly, maternal instinct kicking in. "Noah, check who it is." Noah approached the door cautiously, peering through the peephole. The distorted view showed only darkness and rain. "I don't see anyone, Danny. It's probably just the wind blowing something against the house." But Danny shook his head vigorously. "No, Dad. I saw them when the lightning came. They're right there." Noah looked doubtful, but reached for the porch light switch, flicking it on and off a couple of times to get a better illumination through the rain. "There's nothing out there, son." Just then, the scratching came again, louder this time, followed by a plaintive whine that was unmistakably animal. Maya's expression shifted from concern to recognition. "It sounds like a dog," she said, reaching for Danny's hand to pull him away from the door. "Probably a stray looking for shelter from the storm." Danny resisted his mother's pull. "But Mom, they need help. They're cold and wet." "They?" Noah asked, bending down to his son's eye level. Danny nodded emphatically. "The big one and the little ones. I saw them when the lightning flashed." Noah exchanged a look with Maya. Their son had an active imagination, but he wasn't one to make things up entirely. "I'll take a quick look," Noah decided, reaching for the door handle. "Stand back, both of you." Maya pulled Danny behind her as Noah cracked the door open just enough to peek out. Rain immediately gusted in, dampening the welcome mat and spattering against the wooden floor. "I don't see," Noah began, but was cut off by another flash of lightning. In that brief illumination, he saw exactly what Danny had described, a German shepherd, soaking wet, standing on their porch. Behind the dog huddled 3 small puppies, barely visible against their mother's legs. The mother dog looked up at Noah, her eyes reflecting the porch light with an intelligence that made him catch his breath. She wasn't aggressive or frightened. She seemed desperate. "Oh my God," Noah whispered, opening the door a bit wider. "Maya, Danny was right. There's a dog out here with puppies." Maya's grip on Danny's shoulders tightened. "Noah, be careful. We don't know if it's dangerous." Danny wiggled free from his mother's grasp. "She's not dangerous, Mom. She needs help." His voice carried a certainty that only children can muster, absolute and unwavering. The German shepherd whimpered again, looking from Noah to Danny, then back to her puppies. She took a tentative step forward, then stopped, as if asking permission. Noah hesitated. He had grown up with dogs and recognized the signs of a non-threatening animal, but Maya's concerns weren't unfounded. Stray dogs could be unpredictable, especially when protecting their young. "We should call animal control," Maya suggested, reaching for her phone on the side table. "They'll know what to do." Danny looked horrified. "No! They'll take them away. They just need to come inside and get dry. Please, Dad!" The storm intensified, a particularly strong gust of wind sending a shower of rain directly onto the huddled animals. One of the puppies let out a pitiful yelp, and the mother dog curled her body more protectively around her babies. Noah felt something tug at his heart. The dog wasn't acting aggressively. If anything, she seemed to be pleading. And his son's compassion was something he'd always wanted to encourage. "Maya," Noah said slowly, "it's pouring out there. Animal control might not even come in this weather. And look at them. They're soaked, and those puppies are tiny." Maya bit her lip, her nurse's instinct to help battling with her maternal instinct to protect. What if the dog is sick or dangerous? "She's not dangerous," Danny insisted, taking a small step toward the door. "She's scared." The German shepherd whined again, as if understanding the debate taking place. She looked directly at Danny, then at her puppies, and back to the boy. The connection between them was almost palpable. "We could let them in just to dry off," Noah suggested. "Keep them in the mudroom until the storm passes. I'll stay with them the whole time." Maya looked torn, glancing from her husband to her son, to the animals huddled miserably in the rain. Another flash of lightning illuminated the scene, followed almost immediately by a deafening crack of thunder. The storm was getting closer. "Please, Mommy," Danny whispered, using the name he'd nearly outgrown. His eyes were wide and pleading, mirroring the German shepherd's desperate gaze. Maya sighed, her resolve weakening. "Just for tonight," she conceded, "and only in the mudroom. I'll get some towels." Danny's face broke into a delighted smile. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Noah opened the door wider, stepping aside to allow the animals in. The German Shepherd hesitated, looking at each family member as if assessing their intentions. Then, with deliberate care, she nudged her puppies forward. The little ones stumbled across the threshold, their small legs wobbling on the unfamiliar surface. The mother dog followed, her movements careful and measured. Once inside, she shook herself, sending water droplets flying in all directions. "Whoa!" Noah laughed, shielding his face. "Let's get you all to the mudroom before you soak the entire house." Danny watched in fascination as the family of dogs made their way into their home. The puppies couldn't be more than a few weeks old, their eyes bright and curious despite their bedraggled condition. The mother dog moved with difficulty, Noah noticed. She had a slight limp, favoring her right side. Maya returned with an armful of old towels, her initial reluctance softening at the sight of the shivering puppies. "Poor things," she murmured, handing Noah the towels. "They're half drowned." Noah led the dogs to the mudroom, a small space adjacent to the back door, where the family kept their boots and outdoor gear. It was warm and dry, with enough space for the unexpected guests to settle. Danny followed closely, unwilling to let the dogs out of his sight. "Can I help dry them, Dad?" Noah nodded, handing his son a small towel. "Be gentle, especially with the puppies. Let's dry the little ones first." As Noah reached for one of the puppies, the mother dog tensed momentarily, a low growl rumbling in her throat. Noah paused, holding the towel out for her to sniff. "It's okay, girl. We're just trying to help." The German Shepherd sniffed the towel, then Noah's hand. After a moment of consideration, she relaxed, allowing him to reach for her puppy again. "She understands," Danny said with certainty. He knelt beside the mother dog, speaking softly. "We're going to make you all warm and dry. You're safe now." Maya stood in the doorway, watching her husband and son tend to the animals. Something about the scene touched her deeply. Danny's innate kindness, Noah's gentle patience. She'd been so worried about protecting Danny that sometimes she forgot to let him learn compassion through experience. "I'll bring some water and maybe some leftover chicken," she offered, surprising herself. Noah looked up with a smile. "Look at you, already feeding our guests." Maya rolled her eyes, but there was no annoyance in the gesture. "Just for tonight?" she repeated, but her tone had softened considerably. As Noah and Danny dried the animals, they got a better look at their condition. The puppies were thin but not emaciated, their coats dull but not matted. The mother dog, however, showed signs of recent hardship. Along with her limp, she had a wound on her side, not fresh but not fully healed either. "Maya," Noah called softly, "could you bring the first aid kit too? The mother has an injury." Maya nodded, disappearing back into the house. Danny continued drying the smallest puppy, a little female with a white patch on her chest. "Dad, where did they come from? Did they get lost in the storm?" Noah shook his head. "I don't know, buddy. They might have been strays for a while." He ran his hand gently over the mother dog's head. She leaned into his touch, her eyes closing briefly as if savoring the kindness. "She doesn't have a collar," Danny observed, "but she's too nice to be a wild dog." "You're right," Noah agreed. "She's definitely been around people before. Someone might be looking for her." The German Shepherd's ears perked up at this, her intelligent eyes fixing on Noah with an intensity that made him pause. It was almost as if she understood what they were saying. Maya returned with water, food, and the first aid kit. She set the bowls down carefully, keeping a respectful distance from the dogs. The mother immediately went to the water, drinking deeply before stepping back to let her puppies approach. "She's a good mom," Danny said, watching the interaction. "She makes sure they get what they need first." Maya knelt beside Noah, opening the first aid kit. "Let me see the wound." Noah gently parted the fur on the dog's side, revealing a gash about 4 inches long. It wasn't deep, but it was red around the edges, signs of potential infection. "It needs cleaning," Maya said, her nurse's training taking over. "Hold her still." Noah placed his hand reassuringly on the dog's shoulder, while Maya cleaned the wound with antiseptic. The German Shepherd winced but remained still, as if understanding the process was necessary. "Good girl," Maya murmured, surprising herself again with the tenderness in her voice. She applied antibiotic ointment and covered the wound with a light bandage. That should help. The puppies had finished drinking and were now exploring their temporary shelter, sniffing every corner with curious noses. One of them, a chubby male with darker markings, wobbled over to Danny and placed his tiny paws on the boy's knee. Danny giggled, his face lighting up with joy. "He likes me, Dad." The mother dog watched the interaction closely, but made no move to intervene. If anything, she seemed to approve of her puppy's choice of human friend. "What should we call them?" Danny asked, carefully picking up the puppy who had approached him. "Danny," Maya cautioned, "we're not keeping them. They're just staying until the storm passes." Danny's face fell slightly, but he nodded. "I know, but we can't just call them dog and puppies while they're here." Noah chuckled. "He's got a point, Maya." Maya sighed, conceding the argument. "Fine, temporary names only." Danny beamed, looking at the mother dog thoughtfully. "She came through the storm to find us, like the moon through clouds. I'm going to call her Luna." "Luna," Noah repeated, testing the name. "It suits her." The German shepherd, now Luna, tilted her head at the sound of her new name, her tail giving a small wag of approval. Danny turned his attention to the puppies. "And this one," he said, holding the puppy in his arms, "is Storm." He pointed to the smallest puppy with the white chest patch. "She's Star." Finally, he indicated the third puppy, who was attempting to climb over a boot. "And he's Ranger." "Those are good names," Noah said, watching as the newly named animals settled into their space. Luna had finished her chicken and was now curled around her puppies, her watchful eyes never leaving the humans. "We should let them rest," Maya suggested, standing up. "Dinner's getting cold, and we've all had quite an evening." Danny reluctantly placed Storm back with his mother and siblings. "Can they stay in my room tonight?" "No, sweetie," Maya said firmly. "They'll be comfortable here. We can check on them in the morning." Danny looked disappointed, but didn't argue. He knelt beside Luna once more, gently stroking her head. "Good night, Luna. Thank you for finding us." Luna looked up at the boy, her brown eyes reflecting a depth of emotion that seemed almost human. She leaned forward and licked Danny's hand once, a simple gesture of trust. The family left the mudroom, leaving the door slightly ajar so they could hear if the dogs needed anything during the night. As they walked back to the kitchen, the storm continued to rage outside, but somehow it seemed less threatening now. As Danny sat down at the dinner table, his eyes kept darting toward the mudroom. "They came to our house for a reason," he said suddenly. "Out of all the houses on our street, Luna chose ours." Noah and Maya exchanged looks across the table. There was something about the way the German shepherd had stared at them, especially at Danny, something knowing in those intelligent eyes. "Sometimes animals just know where they'll be safe," Noah offered, serving soup into Danny's dinosaur bowl. Danny shook his head, conviction clear on his young face. "No, it's more than that. Luna was looking for us. She needed us." Maya reached over to smooth Danny's hair. "Well, we're helping them now, and that's what matters." But as the family ate their dinner, the storm raging outside their windows, none of them could shake the feeling that this unexpected encounter was more than mere coincidence. Especially Danny, who kept glancing toward the mudroom with a strange certainty in his eyes. "She didn't just come here for help," he whispered, so quietly that his parents barely heard him over the storm. "She came here to tell us something." The rain continued to pour, washing away any traces of where Luna and her puppies had come from, and any clues to why, out of all the houses in Willow Creek, she had chosen theirs. Morning came with gentle sunlight, filtering through the windows, the storm having passed during the night. Danny woke earlier than usual, memories of their furry visitors sending him rushing downstairs in his dinosaur pajamas, his small feet padding quickly across the wooden floors. "Luna," he called softly as he approached the mudroom door. He pushed it open, relieved to find the German shepherd and her puppies still there. Luna raised her head immediately, her ears perking up at the sight of the boy. Her tail wagged slowly in recognition. The puppies were curled against their mother's warm body, still sleeping peacefully. Danny noticed that someone, probably his dad, had placed a folded blanket beneath them during the night, replacing the damp towels. "Good morning," Danny whispered, kneeling beside Luna. He reached out slowly, letting her sniff his hand before gently stroking her head. "Did you sleep okay?" Luna leaned into his touch, her brown eyes watching him with that same intelligent gaze that had struck them all the previous night. There was something almost human in the way she looked at him, as if she were trying to communicate something beyond what her canine voice could express. Maya appeared in the doorway, tying her robe around her waist. "I thought I'd find you here," she said, her voice tinged with both amusement and concern. "You should have waited for us to come down together, Danny." Danny didn't look up, focused on scratching behind Luna's ears. "She's not dangerous, Mom. She's my friend." Maya sighed, stepping into the small room. "I know she seems friendly, but we still need to be careful. Wild animals can be unpredictable." "She's not wild," Danny insisted, his voice carrying the absolute certainty that only children can muster. "She used to belong to someone, I can tell." Noah joined them, already dressed for work, but with his hair still damp from the shower. "Morning, explorers," he said cheerfully. "How are our guests doing?" "They're good," Danny reported. "Luna likes me." Noah knelt beside his son, observing the mother dog. "Her wound looks better today," he noted, carefully lifting the edge of the bandage Maya had applied the night before. "The swelling's gone down." Maya crossed her arms, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. "So what's the plan? We need to figure out what to do with them." Danny's head snapped up, alarm written across his face. "Do with them? They're staying with us." "Danny," Maya began gently, "we can't just keep dogs that might belong to someone else. And if they don't have an owner, there are shelters with people who know how to care for animals like these." The boy's face crumpled. "But they came to us. Luna picked our house." Noah placed a steadying hand on his son's shoulder. "Tell you what, I'll call the local animal shelter after breakfast and see what they suggest. Maybe they can check if Luna has a microchip and if she belongs to someone." "And if she doesn't?" Danny asked, hope creeping into his voice. "Then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it," Noah answered diplomatically, exchanging a look with Maya that Danny didn't miss. Maya nodded, attempting a smile. "In the meantime, our guests need breakfast. I think we have some leftover chicken that we can warm up for Luna, and maybe some milk for the puppies." Danny's face brightened. "Can I help feed them?" "Of course," Noah said, standing up. "But first, human breakfast. Can't save strays on an empty stomach." The family headed to the kitchen, leaving the mudroom door open so Luna could come out if she wanted. The German Shepherd watched them go, then carefully stood up, mindful not to disturb her sleeping puppies. She limped to the doorway, peering into the kitchen with obvious interest. "Look," Danny whispered, pointing. "She wants to come in." Maya hesitated, but Noah seemed unconcerned. "Let's see what she does. If she's house-trained, it's another sign she belongs to someone." Luna took a tentative step into the kitchen, then another. She moved with caution, her eyes darting between the family members as if seeking permission. When no one objected, she continued into the room, her nails clicking softly on the tile floor. "Good girl," Danny encouraged, patting his leg. "Come here, Luna." The German Shepherd approached the boy, sitting politely beside his chair. Her posture was perfect, alert but relaxed, the mark of a well-trained dog. "Definitely someone's pet," Noah remarked, preparing coffee. "No stray sits like that." Maya seemed less convinced. "If she belongs to someone, why was she out in that storm with puppies? And what about that wound on her side?" Noah shrugged. "Could have gotten separated from her owner, been lost for a while. The wound might be from climbing over a fence or running through underbrush." Danny hadn't taken his eyes off Luna. "She's hungry," he announced. "Can I give her some breakfast now?" "Let's heat it up first," Maya suggested, retrieving the leftover chicken from the refrigerator. She placed it in a microwave-safe bowl and warmed it slightly before handing it to Danny. "Not too hot, just warm." Danny carefully carried the bowl to a clear spot on the floor. "Here you go, Luna." The German Shepherd looked at the food, then back at Danny, as if asking permission. "It's okay," Danny assured her. "You can eat it." Only then did Luna approach the bowl, eating with surprising delicacy for a hungry dog. She didn't gobble or make a mess, further evidence of her training. The puppies began whimpering from the mudroom, their tiny voices growing more insistent as they discovered their mother's absence. "I think the babies are hungry too," Danny said, already sliding off his chair. "Can I bring them in?" Noah glanced at Maya, who gave a reluctant nod. "On the blanket, please. Don't try to carry them all at once." Danny hurried to the mudroom, returning moments later with the blanket dragged carefully behind him. The three puppies were bundled in its folds, squirming and whining for their mother. Luna immediately went to her puppies, nuzzling each one as if counting them. The family watched as she settled beside the blanket, allowing the puppies to nurse. "They're so tiny," Maya observed, her expression softening. "How old do you think they are, Noah?" Noah studied the puppies thoughtfully. 3, maybe 4 weeks. Their eyes are open, and they're moving around pretty well, but they're still nursing. "Can I pet them while they eat?" Danny asked, kneeling beside the blanket. "Better let them finish first," Noah advised. "Luna might be protective while they're nursing." Danny nodded seriously, watching the puppies with fascination. "What are we going to do if nobody claims them?" Maya and Noah exchanged glances again, a silent conversation passing between them. Maya's eyes held warning, while Noah's conveyed gentle persuasion. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Noah finally said. "First step is to see if Luna has an owner looking for her. I'll make that call after breakfast." The morning progressed with a strange new routine. Noah called the local animal shelter, while Maya prepared for her shift at the clinic. Danny, having no school due to the weekend, appointed himself official dog watcher. Luna proved to be the perfect guest, clean, quiet, and attentive. She followed Danny around with patient interest, returning to check on her puppies frequently. The puppies themselves mostly slept, occasionally waking to nurse or explore their immediate surroundings on wobbly legs. "The shelter says they can scan for a microchip this afternoon," Noah reported after his call. "I'll take Luna in around 2. They also said the puppies are probably about 3 weeks old, based on my description." Maya nodded, gathering her things for work. "Do you want me to take them on my way to the clinic? I start at noon." Noah shook his head. "Better if I do it. You know how Danny feels. He'll want updates right away. If I take them, I can bring them straight back afterward." "Bring them back?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Noah, if they find the owner, then of course they'll stay there," Noah finished. "But if there's no chip, no reports of a missing German Shepherd with puppies, the shelter suggested we could foster them until the puppies are old enough for adoption. They're pretty full right now, with animals from the storm." Maya closed her eyes briefly. "Foster them, not keep them permanently." "Of course," Noah agreed quickly. "Just until they find good homes." Danny appeared in the doorway, Luna at his side. "Are you talking about Luna and the puppies? Are we keeping them?" "We're going to help them," Noah explained carefully. "This afternoon, we'll take Luna to see if she has a microchip that can tell us who she belongs to." Danny's face fell. "But what if she doesn't want to go back? What if she ran away because something bad happened?" There was something in Danny's tone, a hint of knowledge beyond his years, that made both parents pause. "Why would you think that, sweetie?" Maya asked, kneeling to her son's level. Danny shrugged, his small hand resting on Luna's head. "She came to us for a reason. She picked our house because she knew we would help her." "Well, we are helping her," Noah assured him. "And whatever happens, we'll make sure Luna and her puppies are safe." Danny didn't look convinced, but he nodded anyway. Luna pressed closer to the boy's side, as if offering comfort. Maya checked her watch. "I have to go. Text me what the shelter says, okay?" She kissed Danny's forehead and squeezed Noah's hand before heading out, casting one last glance at the German Shepherd, watching her from beside her son. After Maya left, Noah and Danny spent the morning getting to know their canine guests better. The puppies became more active as the day progressed, their personalities emerging. Storm was the adventurous one, always straying farthest from the blanket. Star, despite being the smallest, was fearless, attempting to climb onto the kitchen chair. Ranger was more reserved, sticking close to Luna, watching his siblings' antics with cautious interest. Luna herself remained alert, but relaxed, tolerating the children's petting and Noah's examination of her wound. The injury looked better in daylight, not as deep as they'd feared, though it would likely leave a scar. "I think she got caught on something sharp," Noah commented, gently replacing the bandage. "A fence, maybe, or broken glass. It's healing well, though." Danny sat cross-legged on the floor, Storm exploring his lap. "Dad, can we please keep them if nobody claims Luna?" "Please?" Noah sighed, sitting back on his heels. "Danny, having a dog is a big responsibility. And 4 dogs, that's even bigger. Your mom and I would need to think about it very carefully." "I would help," Danny promised earnestly. "I would feed them and walk them and clean up after them. I'd do everything. I know you would try, Noah said, ruffling his son's hair. Let's just see what the shelter says first, okay? The hours passed quickly, and soon it was time for their appointment at the shelter. Noah carefully loaded Luna into the back of their SUV, making a makeshift bed out of blankets for her and the puppies. Can I come too? Danny asked, already reaching for his shoes. Of course, Noah replied. Luna might be calmer with you there. The animal shelter was a small, well-maintained building on the outskirts of town. A cheerful sign declaring Willow Creek Animal Haven hung above the entrance, and the sound of various animals could be heard from inside. A woman with graying hair and kind eyes met them at the reception desk. You must be the Morgans, she greeted them. I'm Susan. We spoke on the phone, and this must be the German Shepherd you found. Luna stood beside Danny, her posture alert but not tense. She allowed Susan to approach, sniffing her outstretched hand politely. She's beautiful, Susan remarked, examining Luna with practiced eyes. Purebred, I'd say, and well cared for until recently. She gently felt Luna's sides. A bit thin, but not desperately so. And these puppies look healthy, if a little small for their age. She led them to an examination room, where a veterinarian waited to scan Luna for a microchip. Danny held Luna's head, whispering reassurances as the vet ran the scanner over her shoulder blades and neck. Nothing, the vet announced after a thorough check. No chip that I can detect. Noah frowned. Is it possible the chip moved or stopped working? Possible, but unlikely, the vet replied. I'd say she never had one, which is surprising for a dog of her quality. Susan made some notes on a clipboard. We've had no reports of missing German Shepherds, especially not one with puppies. I can post her information on our website and social media, but honestly, if someone was looking for her, they probably would have contacted us already, especially after last night's storm. Danny looked up at his father, hope brightening his face. So we can keep her? Susan smiled at the boy's enthusiasm. We're quite full right now, and the puppies are still nursing. If you're willing to foster them until we find permanent homes, that would be ideal. Foster them, Noah repeated, emphasizing the temporary nature of the arrangement for Danny's benefit. But Danny wasn't listening. He was focused on Luna, who had suddenly become alert, her ears pricked forward, attention fixed on the shelter's front entrance. A moment later, the door opened, and a man in his early 30s entered. He was tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a rain-spattered jacket despite the now clear skies. Something about his appearance made Luna tense, a low growl building in her throat. Can I help you? Susan called, noticing the newcomer. The man smiled, but the expression didn't reach his eyes. Just looking for a dog, he replied casually. Lost mine in the storm last night. Luna's growl deepened, and she moved to position herself between the stranger and Danny. The puppies, sensing their mother's tension, huddled together on the blanket, suddenly quiet. Noah placed a steadying hand on Luna's back. Easy, girl, he murmured, though he felt uneasy himself. Something about the man's demeanor struck him as off. Susan approached the counter. What kind of dog are you missing? We can check if anyone's brought one in. The man stepped further into the shelter, his gaze sweeping the room until it landed on Luna. Something flashed in his eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or something darker. German Shepherd, he said, his voice suddenly tight. Female, about 2 years old. Danny clutched Luna's fur, feeling the dog's muscles tense beneath his fingers. Dad, he whispered urgently. Luna doesn't like him. Noah nodded almost imperceptibly, moving slightly to place himself between the stranger and his son. Quite a coincidence, he said, keeping his tone neutral. We just brought in a German Shepherd ourselves. The man's attention snapped to Noah, his expression unreadable. Really? Where did you find her? She showed up at our door during the storm, Noah answered carefully, watching the man's reaction. With 3 puppies. A flicker of surprise crossed the man's face before he controlled it. Puppies? My dog didn't have puppies. Susan looked between them, sensing the tension. Well, that solves that then. This wouldn't be your dog, but we can take your information and contact you if yours turns up. The man hesitated, his gaze fixed on Luna with an intensity that made Noah's skin crawl. Luna continued to growl softly, her body rigid with alert wariness. Yeah, sure, the man finally said, breaking eye contact with the dog. I'll fill out a form. As Susan led him to the counter, Noah knelt beside Danny and Luna. "Something's not right," he murmured, stroking Luna's head to calm her. "Luna definitely knows that man, and she doesn't like him." Danny nodded, his young face serious. "She's scared of him, Dad. We can't let him take her." "He won't," Noah assured him. "His story doesn't match. He didn't know about the puppies. But I want to get out of here while he's busy with that paperwork." Noah quietly explained to the veterinarian that they needed to leave, signing the necessary fostering paperwork as quickly as possible. Within minutes, they had loaded Luna and the puppies back into the SUV and were pulling out of the parking lot. In the rearview mirror, Noah caught sight of the stranger standing in the doorway of the shelter, watching them drive away. Luna, sitting in the back with Danny and the puppies, whined softly, her eyes fixed on the receding figure. "It's okay, girl," Danny soothed, his small arms around her neck. "We won't let him hurt you." Noah's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Danny, did you notice anything else about that man? Anything Luna did when she saw him?" Danny thought for a moment, absently stroking Luna's fur. "She was scared, but not just scared. She was angry too, like she knew him, and he did something bad." Noah nodded, making a mental note to discuss this with Maya later. "Well, he's gone now, and you heard Susan. His dog didn't have puppies, so Luna can't be his." But as they drove home, Noah couldn't shake the feeling that their unexpected encounter at the shelter was more than coincidence. The way Luna had reacted, the man's obvious interest despite his claim that this wasn't his dog, something didn't add up. "Dad," Danny said suddenly, breaking the silence, "Luna wants to tell us something about that man. I can feel it." Noah glanced in the rearview mirror at his son. Danny sat with one arm around Luna, his expression earnest and worried beyond his years. "What do you think she wants to tell us, buddy?" Danny's answer sent a chill down Noah's spine. "That he's dangerous, and he's looking for her." When they arrived home, Noah texted Maya about what had happened at the shelter, keeping his message brief but clear. "No chip, fostering approved. Strange man claimed to be looking for GS, but didn't know about puppies. Luna reacted badly to him. Tell you more tonight." Maya's response came quickly. "Be careful. Trust Luna's instincts." Home at 7. The afternoon passed quietly. Luna seemed to relax once they were back at the house, settling on the living room rug with her puppies. Danny sat beside them, alternating between playing with the more adventurous puppies and reading a book about dogs that Noah had found on their bookshelf. "It says here that German Shepherds are really smart," Danny reported, flipping through the pages. "They can learn lots of commands and even do special jobs like finding lost people or guarding important things." Noah, who had been working on lesson plans at the dining table, looked up with interest. "That's right. They're often used as police dogs or service animals because they're so intelligent and loyal." Danny nodded, glancing at Luna thoughtfully. "Do you think Luna had a job like that before she found us?" Noah considered the dog's behavior, her alertness, her protective instincts, the way she had positioned herself between Danny and the stranger at the shelter. "It's possible. She certainly acts like she's had training of some kind." Luna raised her head at the sound of her name, those intelligent eyes moving between Noah and Danny as if following their conversation. There was something almost uncanny about her awareness, as if she understood every word they were saying. "I think she was protecting something," Danny said suddenly, closing the book. "Or someone. That's why she has that hurt on her side. She was fighting." Noah put down his pen, struck by the certainty in his son's voice. "What makes you say that, Danny?" The boy shrugged, seemingly unable to articulate his intuition. "I just know. She's brave. She was trying to save something important when she got hurt." Before Noah could respond, Luna suddenly stood up, her ears pricked forward. A low growl rumbled in her throat as she stared at the front window. "Dad," Danny whispered, fear edging into his voice. "Someone's outside." Noah rose from his chair, moving carefully to the window. He peered through the curtains, scanning the front yard. The street appeared empty in the late afternoon light, shadows lengthening across the lawn. Then he saw it, a flash of movement near the edge of their property. A figure quickly ducking behind the large oak tree that marked the boundary of their yard. "Danny," Noah said quietly, keeping his voice calm despite the alarm bells ringing in his mind. "Take Luna and the puppies to the back bedroom. Now please!" Danny didn't question the instruction. He gathered the puppies carefully, whispering to Luna to follow him. The German Shepherd hesitated, looking between Noah and the window, clearly torn between following her puppies and confronting whatever threat lurked outside. "Go with Danny, Luna," Noah urged gently. "Keep them safe." Something in his tone must have resonated with her training, because Luna immediately obeyed, herding the last puppy ahead of her as she followed Danny down the hallway. Once they were out of sight, Noah pulled out his phone, quickly dialing Maya. "Noah?" Her voice held a note of concern. "Is everything okay?" "I'm not sure," he admitted quietly, moving away from the windows. "There's someone outside watching the house. I think it might be the same man from the shelter." "Have you called the police?" Maya asked immediately. "Not yet. I don't have proof he's doing anything wrong, and I don't want to sound paranoid. But I'd feel better if you came home now." "I'm leaving right away," Maya assured him. "Call the police if he comes onto the property or tries to approach the house. And Noah, be careful. If Luna was afraid of this man, there's probably a good reason." After hanging up, Noah checked on Danny. His son had created a nest of blankets in the master bedroom closet, where Luna and the puppies were now settled. Danny sat beside them, one hand protectively on Luna's head. "Is the bad man outside?" Danny asked, his voice small but steady. Noah knelt beside his son, struck once again by the boy's intuitive understanding of the situation. "I'm not sure who it is, buddy, but Mom's on her way home, and we're all safe inside." Luna's ears were still alert, her posture tense even as she lay beside her puppies. She kept her eyes fixed on the bedroom door, as if expecting someone to burst through at any moment. "She's scared," Danny whispered, stroking her fur. "She knows it's him." Noah felt a chill run down his spine. The certainty in his son's voice, combined with Luna's obvious distress, was deeply unsettling. What had this dog experienced? Who was the man outside? And what did he want with Luna? As the minutes ticked by, Noah periodically checked the windows, careful to stay hidden behind the curtains. The figure remained near the tree line, sometimes visible, sometimes hidden in the growing shadows. Whoever it was, they were watching the house with disturbing patience. Finally, Noah heard the sound of Maya's car pulling into the driveway. The figure retreated further into the trees as the headlights swept across the yard. Noah met Maya at the door, quickly locking it behind her. "He's still out there," he murmured, keeping his voice low. "Watching from the edge of the property." Maya's face paled. "Should we call the police now?" Noah hesitated. "What would we tell them? That a man is standing on public property near our house? That our newly fostered dog doesn't like him?" "We could say we have a suspicious person lurking around," Maya suggested. "After all, he's been there for what, an hour now?" Before Noah could respond, Luna appeared in the hallway, her posture alert but no longer fearful. She moved to the front door, sniffing at the threshold, then looked back at Noah and Maya with an almost questioning expression. "Luna," Danny called from further down the hall. "Come back." "It's okay," Noah reassured him. "She's just checking that your mom got home safely." But Luna wasn't relaxing. She paced between the door and the family, whining softly, her behavior reminiscent of the previous night when she had appeared on their doorstep. "What is it, girl?" Maya asked, kneeling beside the dog. "What are you trying to tell us?" Luna pressed her nose against the front window, then looked back at them meaningfully. Noah peered outside again. The figure was gone. The street was empty, peaceful in the early evening light. "He's left," Noah reported, relief evident in his voice. "At least for now?" Luna whined again, more insistently this time. She scratched gently at the door, then looked at Noah with those intelligent eyes that seemed to hold volumes of unspoken communication. "I don't think she's worried about him coming in," Danny said, appearing beside his mother. "I think she's trying to show us something outside." The family exchanged glances, the same thought crossing all their minds. Last night, trusting Luna's desperate plea had brought these animals into their lives. What was she trying to tell them now? "Should we?" Maya asked uncertainly. Noah considered for a moment, then nodded. "I'll go out and check. You two stay inside with Luna and the puppies." "No," Danny protested immediately. "Luna wants all of us to go. She has something important to show us." Luna barked once, as if in agreement, then returned to nosing at the door handle. Noah and Maya shared another look, concern mixed with curiosity. Something strange was happening, something beyond the simple story of a stray dog seeking shelter. Luna's behavior, the mysterious stranger, Danny's unusual certainty about the dog's intentions. All of it pointed to a mystery that was only beginning to unfold. "All right," Noah decided, reaching for his jacket. "We'll all go, but we stay together. And at the first sign of anything suspicious, we come straight back inside." Danny nodded solemnly, already reaching for Luna's makeshift leash, a length of rope Noah had fashioned that afternoon. "The puppies should stay here where it's safe," the boy declared with unexpected authority. Luna seemed to agree, nudging her sleepy puppies deeper into the blanket nest before returning to the door, her attention focused entirely on what lay beyond. The family stepped outside together, the evening air cool against their skin. Luna led the way, her nose to the ground, following a trail only she could detect. She moved with purpose despite her lingering limp, stopping occasionally to ensure the humans were still behind her. "Where is she taking us?" Maya whispered, staying close to Danny. Noah shook his head. "No idea, but she definitely knows where she's going." They followed Luna across their yard and toward the tree line where the stranger had been lurking. Danny held tightly to the makeshift leash, though Luna hardly needed guidance. She moved with the focus of a dog on a mission, her ears constantly swiveling to catch any sound, her eyes scanning their surroundings. As they reached the edge of the property, Noah hesitated. "Maybe we shouldn't go into the woods, especially with night falling." Luna whined, looking back at them with what could only be described as impatience. She tugged gently on the leash, clearly intent on continuing. "She needs to show us something important," Danny insisted, his young face set with determination. "We have to trust her." Maya looked torn, maternal caution battling with curiosity. "Noah, what do you think?" Noah glanced at the darkening sky, then back at Luna's pleading eyes. "We'll go a little further," he decided, pulling out his phone to use as a flashlight. "But not too deep into the woods, and we stay together." Luna seemed to understand the compromise. She waited for Noah to take the lead, then continued forward, her pace measured but urgent. The woods were quiet in the twilight. The only sounds their footsteps on the fallen leaves and the occasional rustle of small animals fleeing their approach. Luna moved confidently through the trees, following what appeared to be a faint path. "Someone's been through here recently," Noah observed, noticing broken twigs and disturbed ground. "See how the leaves are pressed down?" Maya nodded, her arm around Danny's shoulders. "Do you think it was that man from earlier?" "Maybe," Noah admitted. "But these tracks look older, like they've been made multiple times. Someone's been using this path regularly." They had walked perhaps 5 minutes when Luna suddenly stopped, her body going rigid. A low growl vibrated in her throat as she stared ahead into the gathering darkness. "What is it, girl?" Danny whispered, kneeling beside her. Noah raised his phone, the flashlight beam cutting through the gloom to illuminate a small clearing ahead. At first, nothing seemed unusual, just a patch of open ground surrounded by trees. Then the light caught something metallic, reflecting back. "There's something there," Noah said, moving forward cautiously. As they entered the clearing, the object became clear, a small metal box, partially buried in the soil. It looked as if someone had hastily covered it and recently returned to check on it. Luna approached the spot, her growl deepening. She pawed at the loose earth covering the box, then looked up at the family as if saying, "Here. This is what I wanted you to see." "Should we dig it up?" Maya asked, her voice uncertain. Before Noah could answer, a twig snapped somewhere behind them. Luna whirled around, placing herself between the family and the sound, her hackles raised and teeth bared. "Someone's coming," Noah whispered urgently. "We need to go, now." Danny stood frozen, his eyes wide with fear. "It's him, isn't it? The bad man from the shelter." "Probably," Noah admitted, thinking quickly. "Maya, take Danny and head straight back to the house. I'll be right behind you." Maya shook her head firmly. "We're not splitting up. We all go together." Luna barked once, a sharp, commanding sound that startled them all. She moved to Danny's side, nudging him insistently away from the clearing, back toward the direction of their home. "She wants us to leave," Danny interpreted, tugging on his parents' hands. "Come on!" The family retreated quickly, Maya leading Danny while Noah brought up the rear. Luna stayed with Noah, repeatedly looking back over her shoulder, her growl never ceasing. They had almost reached the edge of the woods when a figure stepped into their path. The same man from the shelter, his face partially hidden in shadow, but his stance unmistakably hostile. "Evening," he said, his voice deceptively casual. Bit late for a family walk in the woods, isn't it? Maya pulled Danny closer to her side. We were just heading home. The man's gaze settled on Luna, who was now growling openly, her body tense and ready to spring. I see you've got my dog there. Your dog? Noah challenged, stepping slightly in front of Maya and Danny. You said at the shelter that your missing dog didn't have puppies. The man shrugged, taking a step closer. I was mistaken. Memory's a funny thing. His hand moved to his jacket pocket, the gesture subtle but threatening. That's definitely my dog, and I'd like her back now. Luna's growl deepened, the sound vibrating through the gathering darkness. Even in the dim light, they could see her teeth bared, her posture unmistakably protective. She doesn't seem to agree, Noah observed, trying to keep his voice steady despite the fear churning in his stomach. In fact, she seems pretty afraid of you. The man's face hardened. Dogs don't get to choose their owners. She's mine, and so is whatever she showed you back there. Danny, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. You heard her. That's why she ran away. The man's attention snapped to Danny, his eyes narrowing. Kids should stay out of grown-up business. Luna reacted instantly to the man's tone, lunging forward with a snarl that stopped just short of attacking. The message was clear. Come closer, and I will fight. Noah reached slowly for his phone. I'm calling the police. I wouldn't do that, the man warned, his hand still in his pocket. This can all be very simple. Just give me the dog, and we'll forget this little adventure in the woods. We're not giving you Luna, Danny declared, his small voice surprisingly firm, despite his obvious fear. She chose us because she knew we would protect her. The man laughed, the sound cold and devoid of humor. Luna? Is that what you're calling her? Her name is Shadow, and she's a valuable dog with special training that belongs to me. Maya stepped forward, maternal instinct overriding caution. What kind of training leaves a dog with a wound like that? What did you do to her? The man's expression darkened. Like I said, this isn't your business. The dog is mine. Whatever you think happened to her, whatever story you've made up in your heads, it doesn't matter. She's property, and she's coming with me. As he took another step forward, Luna exploded into motion, placing herself directly between the man and the family. Her bark echoed through the trees, fierce and uncompromising. The man hesitated, clearly not expecting such direct confrontation. His hand emerged from his pocket, and in the dim light, they caught the glint of something metallic, a knife. Call her off, he ordered, his voice hardening, or things will get ugly. Noah pushed Maya and Danny behind him. Run, he whispered urgently. Get to the house and call the police. I'll stay with Luna. Dad, no! Danny protested, tears filling his eyes. Go with your mother, Noah insisted. Now, Danny. Maya grabbed Danny's hand and began backing away. The man noticed and started to move toward them, but Luna intercepted, her growl so deep it seemed to vibrate the very air around them. Get back! The man shouted at Luna, brandishing the knife. Back, Shadow! Luna didn't flinch. If anything, her stance became more aggressive. She was buying time for Maya and Danny to escape, and she knew it. Noah reached for a fallen branch, hefting it like a club. You should leave, he told the man, surprised at the steadiness of his own voice. The police will be here soon. The man's attention divided between Noah and Luna, calculation evident in his eyes. You have no idea what you've stumbled into, he said finally. That dog isn't just a pet. She knows things that are worth a lot of money, things that belong to me. She doesn't belong to you, Noah countered. No animal deserves to be treated the way you've treated her. In the distance, they heard Maya calling for help, her voice carrying through the trees. The man cursed under his breath. This isn't over, he warned, backing away slowly. That dog has something that's mine, and I will get it back. With one last threatening gesture, he turned and disappeared into the darkening woods, moving away from the direction of the house. Noah waited until the sound of the man's footsteps had faded before lowering the branch. Good girl, Luna, he murmured, his hands shaking with adrenaline as he patted her head. You're a very brave dog. Luna maintained her alert posture for several more moments, as if ensuring the threat had truly passed. Only then did she relax slightly, turning to nose at Noah's hand in what seemed like reassurance. Let's get home, Noah suggested, relief flooding through him. Maya and Danny will be worried. They hurried back through the woods, Luna staying close to Noah's side. As they emerged from the tree line, they saw flashing lights in their driveway. 2 police cruisers had already arrived, and Maya was speaking animatedly with the officers. Danny clutched to her side. "Noah!" Maya cried, spotting them. She ran forward, embracing both Noah and, surprisingly, Luna. "Thank God you're both all right." The police officers approached, notebooks ready. "Sir, your wife tells us someone threatened you in the woods with a knife?" Noah nodded, still catching his breath. "That's right. A man who claims this dog belongs to him, the same man we saw at the animal shelter earlier today." As Noah recounted their encounter, Luna stayed vigilant, her attention frequently returning to the woods, as if expecting the man to reappear. Danny knelt beside her, his arms around her neck, whispering what sounded like words of comfort into her fur. "And you say he mentioned the dog knows about something valuable?" one officer clarified, looking skeptical. "He said she knows things worth money," Noah confirmed. "And he mentioned that spot in the clearing where we found a metal box partially buried. I think whatever's in that box is what he's after." The officers exchanged glances. "We'll check it out. Can you show us where this clearing is?" Noah looked at Maya, hesitant to return to the woods. "I can point you in the right direction, but I'd rather not leave my family right now." "Understandable," the older officer said with a nod. "We'll take a look around and have a patrol car swing by your house periodically tonight. If this man returns, call 911 immediately." As the police headed into the woods with flashlights, the family retreated inside their home, locking the doors behind them. Danny ran straight to the master bedroom to check on the puppies, who greeted him with excited yips and wagging tails, blissfully unaware of the danger their mother had just faced. "They're okay," he reported, returning to the living room where his parents sat with Luna. "But I think they miss their mom." Luna whined softly, looking toward the bedroom. Noah nodded. "Go check on your babies, girl. You've earned a rest." The German shepherd padded down the hallway, casting one last glance back at the family before disappearing into the bedroom. "What just happened?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who is that man, and what does he want with Luna?" Noah shook his head, still processing the encounter. "I don't know exactly, but it sounds like Luna might have been some kind of working dog, maybe police or military trained, and she seems to have knowledge of something valuable that this man wants." "The box in the clearing," Danny said, climbing onto the couch between his parents. "Luna wanted to show us what was buried there." Maya wrapped an arm around her son. "But why? Why would she bring us to it?" "I think," Noah began, then paused, considering the strange events that had brought Luna into their lives. "I think she's been looking for someone she can trust, someone who can help her." Danny nodded solemnly. "She picked us because she knew we would be on her side." The family sat in silence for a moment, the weight of this responsibility settling over them. Whatever Luna had been through, whatever secret she was guarding, she had chosen them as her allies. "We need to be careful," Maya said finally. "That man is dangerous, and he seems determined." Noah squeezed her hand. "The police are investigating now. Maybe they'll find something in that box that explains all this." The night wore on. The police returned from the woods with the metal box, which was locked and showed signs of weathering. They took it as evidence and promised to update the family if they discovered anything significant. True to their word, a patrol car drove by the house every hour, its headlights briefly illuminating the windows before continuing on its rounds. Despite the reassurance of police presence, none of the family slept well. Danny insisted on keeping Luna and the puppies in his room, creating a nest of blankets beside his bed. Luna seemed grateful for the arrangement, settling in with her puppies but remaining alert, her ears perking up at every sound outside. Maya and Noah took turns checking on Danny throughout the night. Each time they peeked into his room, they found the same scene. Danny sleeping with one hand draped over the edge of the bed, his fingers resting in Luna's fur. The German shepherd's eyes would open, acknowledge them, then close again. But they knew she wasn't truly sleeping. She was guarding. Morning came with a gentle knock on their front door. Noah, who had finally fallen into a restless sleep on the couch to be near the entrance, startled awake. Luna appeared almost instantly from Danny's room, her posture alert but not aggressive. The knock came again, followed by a voice. "Mr. Morgan, it's Officer Reynolds. We have some information about that box." Noah approached the door cautiously, checking through the peephole before opening it. The officer from the previous night stood on their porch, holding a manila folder. "May I come in?" he asked. "I think you'll want to hear this." Noah nodded, stepping aside. Luna watched the officer enter, her head tilted curiously but without fear. Whatever she sensed from this man, it wasn't threatening. Maya emerged from the hallway, tying her robe around her waist. "Did you find something?" Officer Reynolds took a seat at their invitation. "We did. The box contained several items of interest: military identification, a flash drive, and a set of coordinates." "Military ID?" Noah repeated, glancing at Luna. "So she might have been a military dog?" "That's what we thought too," the officer confirmed. "The ID belongs to a Jacob Harlow, former Army Ranger. We ran his name through the system and found something interesting." He opened the folder, pulling out a printed news article. Jacob Harlow was reported missing almost 6 months ago. Maya gasped softly. "Missing?" "Yes. According to the report, he disappeared while investigating potential misconduct within a private military contractor called Sentinel Security. He was working as a consultant for them after his honorable discharge." "And the man in the woods?" Noah asked, connecting the dots. "Is he connected to this company?" Officer Reynolds nodded grimly. "Based on your description and what we found on that flash drive, we believe he's Victor Reeves, head of security for Sentinel. The drive contained evidence of illegal weapons sales, contract violations, and significant financial fraud. So Jacob Harlow discovered these crimes," Maya said slowly, "and then disappeared. And somehow Luna ended up with this evidence," Noah finished, looking at the German Shepherd with newfound understanding. "She must have belonged to Jacob." Danny appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Luna was trying to finish her owner's mission," he said simply, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "She was keeping the evidence safe until she could find someone to help." The adults turned to look at the boy, struck by the clarity of his intuition. Luna moved to Danny's side, pressing against his leg in what looked remarkably like confirmation. "Out of the mouths of babes," Officer Reynolds murmured. He turned back to Noah and Maya. "We believe your theory is correct. Luna, or Shadow, as she was likely called then, was Jacob Harlow's military working dog. The evidence suggests that when Jacob disappeared, she escaped with the box. She's been hiding it and herself ever since." "Until she found us," Maya said softly, looking at Luna with new eyes. "She chose our house, specifically." Officer Reynolds nodded. "Military working dogs are incredibly intelligent, and the bond with their handlers is profound. If Jacob taught her to protect that evidence, she would have done so at all costs." "Is Jacob dead?" Danny asked bluntly, the question hanging heavy in the room. The officer's expression softened. "We don't know yet, son. But with this evidence, we can properly investigate now. We've already contacted federal authorities, and they're very interested in what we found." Luna whined softly at the mention of her former handler, her eyes fixed on the military ID that peeked from the folder. "What happens to Luna now?" Danny asked, his voice trembling slightly. "She did her job. She kept the evidence safe and brought it to us. She can stay with us now, right?" Officer Reynolds looked to Noah and Maya, leaving the question to them. "She's already home," Noah said firmly, reaching out to stroke Luna's head. "She chose us, and we're choosing her right back." Maya nodded in agreement. "And the puppies, too. They're family now." Luna's tail wagged slowly, her eyes moving between the family members as if understanding every word. For the first time since she had appeared on their doorstep, she seemed truly at peace. "What about that man, Victor?" Maya asked, her momentary joy clouded by concern. "He's still out there, and he knows where we live. We've issued an APB for his arrest," Officer Reynolds assured them, "and will maintain patrols around your home until he's in custody. Additionally, the federal agents will want to interview you all later today. They're very interested in Luna and how she came to find you." After the officer left, the family sat together in the living room, processing everything they had learned. Luna lay at their feet, the puppies tumbling playfully around her. "She's a hero," Danny declared, scratching behind Luna's ears. "She kept fighting even when she was hurt and all alone." Noah nodded, watching the German Shepherd with newfound respect. "She is, and she's incredibly smart to have found a way to protect that evidence for so long. And to know who she could trust," Maya added softly. "Of all the houses in town, she chose ours." She knew Danny would convince us to open the door. Danny beamed with pride, lying down on the floor beside Luna. I told you she was special, didn't I? I knew right away. Luna rested her head on Danny's arm, her eyes closing contentedly. Whatever mission had driven her through storm and danger, across unknown distances with 3 puppies to protect, she seemed to feel it was finally complete. She had found her people, a family who would stand beside